So Quaid-e-Azam started his famous speech with these words. First of all, he expressed his gratitude. He said to the member of the Constituent Assembly, I cordially thank you. Cordially means warmly. Thank you with the utmost sincerity. Utmost means too much, very much sincerity. For the honor, honor means respect, deference. Deference, D-E-F-E-R-N-C-E, deference, respect, veneration. You have conferred upon me. Confer means bestow upon me. Bestow. Confer means bestow. Okay, to grant, ata karna. Confer means ata karna. Okay. The greatest honor that is possible to confer. Now you see Quaid-e-Azam first of all expressed his gratitude by saying that they have means granted, they have bestowed upon him, they have conferred upon him what? Great honor and great respect. The greatest honor that is possible to confer by electing me as your president. Now why he was expressing his gratitude? Because those members of the Constituent Assembly had elected Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah as their first president. So that is why Quaid-e-Azam was expressing his gratitude to the people, to the members of the Constituent Assembly. I also thank those leaders who have spoken in appreciation to my services. He also thanked those leaders who are sitting over there, and he expressed his gratitude. He thanked him because those leaders had said in appreciation, had admired Quaid-e-Azam for his services, because they accepted the services of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali. So that is why he thanked those leaders as well who admired Quaid-e-Azam services. And their personal references to me, personal reference means personal relationship. Personal relationship to me. I hope that with your support and your cooperation. Support and cooperation both are the same thing. Means support, help, cooperation, help as well. Your assessment, okay, and your assistant. Your assistant and your cooperation, your help. With the help of your means your cooperation. We shall make this Constituent Assembly an example to the world. Now you see he told the members of the Constituent Assembly that with the help of them they can make and they would make this Constituent Assembly as the greatest of the world. An example for the rest of the world. The Constituent Assembly has got two main functions. Now you see this is very important. These two functions come again and again in annual paper. There is a question related to the same two functions. There is a question in your exercise, a short question, mostly come in your annual paper. So there are two functions on the Constituent Assembly according to Quaid-e-Azam. Okay, the first function. The first is the very onerous. Onerous means heavy, difficult. Onerous means heavy or difficult. Now you see the first difficult function of the Constituent Assembly is what? That got two functions, onerous and responsible task of framing the future constitution. The first task of the Constituent Assembly, which is very onerous, very difficult, that is to frame, to make future constitution. And the second function is full and complete sovereign. Sovereign means independent. Sovereign means independent. The second function of the Constituent Assembly is to serve, is to work as sovereign body as the federal legislature of Pakistan. Now the same Constituent Assembly, Constituent means आइन साज Assembly, जो आइन बनाता है उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? Constituent Assembly. Ainsas Assembly. Now the same Constituent Assembly would also work as a federal legislature. Federal means wafaki, related to federation, federal. Legislature means that body which makes legislation, which make law. जो कानून बनाते हैं, we call it legislature, and legislation means कानून. So this Constituent Assembly, the first duty, first function of Constituent Assembly is to make future constitution. And second duty of the same Constituent Assembly is to work as federal legislature. Now you see we have parliament today. In Pakistan we have parliament. And parliament having two houses. One is National Assembly and the second Senate. Combinedly we call it Parliament, and that Parliament is the legislature because they are making laws, they are making amendments in Constitution, they are also passing Constitution. Okay, because they have been vested with the power to make Constitution, to make amendment in Constitution, and to make simple laws. Now you see, the next who have the second function as a full and complete sovereign body as the Federal Legislature of Pakistan. We have to do the best we can in adopting a provisional constitution. Now you see, Quaid-e-Azam is talking about provisional constitution. Provisional means temporary, arzi. He told the members of Constituent Assembly that they should formulate, they should frame a provisional, a temporary constitution. What for? For the Federal Legislature of Pakistan. For what? For Federal Legislature of Pakistan. They should make a temporary, a provisional constitution. I hope that you have understood explanation, translation, and sketch of these few paragraphs. Now we will start grammar in the same passage. So let's start grammar. Now you see we have different words. We cannot explain all of them, but there are some difficult words. So I think that would be important for you to learn those things, those grammatical structures and those grammatical units which are inside this text that we have read today. Now you see, first of all, we have one. For example, I say one marker, one marker. So one tells us about this marker. So marker is noun, so one becomes an adjective. One becomes an adjective. Sometimes we say, I like this one. I like this one. Now this refers to one. This becomes an adjective and one becomes a pronoun. I like this one, means this pen. So in place of pen we use one. I like this pen, I like this one. So one has replaced the noun pen. So one is working as a pronoun in this sentence. But when we say this is one pen, then the same one is working as an adjective because it tells us about the noun pen. So I hope that you have means one pen. So this is now adjective. Okay, when you say I like this one, I like this one. So then this tells us about one is pronoun over here. So one is working as an adjective and it also works as a pronoun. Now you see we have another word, founding father. Quaid-e-Azam was founding father. Clear? So founding is basically a combination of verb plus ing. Now you see this founding tells us about this noun father. This is noun. Founding tells us about the noun father. So founding is an adjective. Now you see verb plus ing here working as an adjective. So such kind of adjective which is made of a verb plus ing, we call it a participle. We call it participle. Clear? This is participle. Such kind of adjective is known as participle. But it is working as an adjective. Now we have as. As is working in different capacity. As is working as a preposition. As is working as a conjunction. As is working as an adverb. For example, we say he is as beautiful. As beautiful. So as refers to beautiful. So as is working as a adverb because it tells us about adjective beautiful. As beautiful as flower. Now as has been put before, is put before flower. So there it works as a preposition. Okay, the same as also working as a conjunction. As I came here, he went away. Now you see he went away, I came here. These are two clauses and as making a relationship between two clauses. So here as is working as a conjunction. So as is working as a means adjective, as beautiful. Okay, as flower. Now you see as has been put before noun, so here it was as a preposition and here it was as an as an adverb because it tells about adjective beautiful. Now you see, there is hardly, there is mostly used in adverb of place. I saw him there, so this is adverb of place because it tells us about place. Now you see here, there is also used in other sentences, like we say there are many rooms in the college. So in this sentence, there is working as a dummy subject. It replaces subject. There are many rooms. Basically, many rooms are subject. But there means precede, refers to that noun, many rooms. So there is basically pronoun over here because it replaced a noun, many rooms. So there means there is hardly any contentious issue that the vision of Qaid-e-Azam. So I mean to say there is working as a dummy subject. We call it dummy. There are many rooms. Okay, there gives no meaning in this sentence. There are many rooms. There is hardly any issue. So I mean to say this is known as dummy subject, and it works as a pronoun, not as an adverb. Basically, it is an adverb. Now you see we have while. While is, as you know, while is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, while I went there, he left. While, jab main udhar gaya, while and when, both are subordinate conjunction. Okay, and it always introduces a subordinate clause. So while is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, this is subordinate conjunction. Now you see, we have another secular barrister who. Now you see this who tells us about, it refers to, it relates this barrister. This barrister is a noun, secular barrister. So this who basically replaces, or it relates, or it describes a noun which has been discussed before, and that noun is barrister. And this noun is known as antecedent. We call it antecedent. Understand? We also call it anaphoric reference. Anaphoric reference because relative pronoun relate a noun which has been discussed before, and that noun is known as antecedent. Remember? Now you see we have one, had once championed. Once tells us about this verb championed. So once is basically working as an adverb. It is adverb of frequency. This adverb of frequency. And who is a relative pronoun. It works as a conjunction as well, but here it works as a relative pronoun because it relates a noun which is known as antecedent as well. When the partition, now you see when the partition, it has been used in the middle of two clauses, means it makes a relationship between two clauses over here. Okay. Now this when is basically working as a conjunction. We also call it a conjunctive adverb because it makes relationship between two clauses. So we also call it conjunctive adverb. When can be used as an interrogative adverb as well. When do you get up? तुम किस वक्त उठते हो? When do you कब? When do you get up? किस वक्त उठते हो? So when here is used for asking question. So we call it interrogative adverb. But here in this passage, in this sentence, it works as a conjunctive adverb. It makes relationship between two clauses. When the partition. Now you see the rest of the sentence you can see in you can look up in your textbook. Equality for all. Now you see once again for all. For is preposition. All is a pronoun. All is basically a pronoun, but we call it indefinite pronoun. We call it indefinite, not definite one. He, she, those are pronouns, and we call them definite pronouns. We call it personal pronoun, but all is used for all human beings. It is generally used, it is indefinite, na maloom hai. Okay, so we call it indefinite. All is used as indefinite pronoun. This indefinite pronoun. Okay, for, combinedly for all, this is prepositional phrase, starts with the preposition and ends with a pronoun. The second we have, he also seemed. Also is adverb because it tells us about this verb, seemed. And seemed is man verb over here, but remember, seemed is also known as what we call copula. It is also known as linking verb. Linking verb, for example, he looks beautiful, he seemed beautiful. So seemed is followed by beautiful, and beautiful is adjective. He seemed doctor, he looked doctor. Now it's looked, seemed, appeared. These are some verbs which are called copula verb, linking verb. We also call it the verb of perception. We also call it the verb of a perception. So these are some verbs seemed, appeared, looked, having the same meaning. So we also call it a verb of perception and also call it copula or linking verb. Okay, so this is seemed. Now you see, to educate, to is followed by a verb, so we call it infinitive. When to is followed by a verb, we call it infinitive. And infinitive also known as verbal noun. Infinitive also known as verbal noun because it is made of verb, to plus verb, so we call it infinitive, and it was as a noun. Remember, it is a noun. Now the next, this is infinitive. Clear? The next we have utmost sincerity. Utmost tells us about sincerity. Sincerity is noun, so utmost definitely it is an adjective because it tells us about sincerity, noun. So utmost is adjective. Now we are sincerely hope that with your. Now you see, hope verb is followed by a clause. Remember, when verb is followed by a clause, mostly that clause is known as noun clause. In indirect narration we say, he said that he was ill. Now you see that he was ill follows a verb, said. So that he was ill is a noun clause, remember. So this one is a noun clause, that with yours, I sincerely hope that. Now you see, from here start noun clause. Clear? Responsible task of framing. Responsible task of framing. Now you see this framing, this basically verb plus ing, but it is not working as a verb. It was as a noun, and we call it gerund. We call it gerund. For example, we say smoking is dangerous for health, injurious for health. So smoking is working as a noun. Swimming is a good exercise. Swimming is working as a noun. So those means noun which is made of verb plus ing and is working as a noun, we call it gerund. So this framing is working as a gerund, means it is a noun, and we call it gerund. Now you see, we have the next, by electing me as your president. We have this electing, we call it participle. Now this is the whole phrase. The whole phrase is working as a participle phrase because participle phrase modifies or tells us about a subject, a noun, inside the main clause. Inside the main clause. For example, you say, while walking in the garden, she saw a beautiful flower. So while walking in the garden, walking is basically participle. While walking in the garden tells us about she saw a beautiful flower. So while walking in the garden is a participle phrase. Okay. Now you see, I also thank those leaders. Those tells us about leaders is noun, and those is an adjective. Those is an adjective, and those is also working as a modifier. As a modifier, because it modifies this noun leaders. So here I thank those leaders. Those leaders combinedly, this is noun phrase. Alone, leaders is a noun. And we also added a word those. So those leaders. I like those leaders. I like leaders. Now leaders is one noun. Or leader is a noun. And we said those leaders. So it becomes, those leaders becomes a phrase. Okay? It is a combination of two words. It makes a phrase. So those leaders is a noun phrase. Clear? So we have explained noun phrase, noun clause, participle phrase. We have discussed relative pronoun. We have discussed, conjunction. We have discussed different pronouns. I hope that you have understood these grammatical structures. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.